Correct.
Ready.
Okay. But where is the recording?
Yes, streamed live,
Correct.
Ramji.
Okay. Om Sahana Vavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryankaravahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma Vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. So we are looking into Sanatana Dharma. Sanatana is ever existing. It was there 10-20,000 years ago. It was there 100 years ago, and it is today there. It will be there forever. That's why it is Sanatana. And Sanatana, I also added one more dimension for that. In the Sanatana Dharma is something which is applicable to the whole mankind. It's not just only for a particular area, geographical portion of the body of people, but it is for everybody. In fact, that's one of the reasons why the Sanatana Dharma people, the people from this culture, they could say, Vasudhaika Kutumbakam, the world as one family. And we also had the prayers like, blessings like, Sarve Bhavantu Sukhiraha, Sarve Santu Niramayaha. In fact, it not only encompasses not only all the human beings all over the globe, but also all the creatures, all the animals, everything it is included in this. That is the kind of expansion that Sanatana means. Dharma, expansion, because Dharma is the essential quality of whatever that we said is the, like for example, Dharma of the fire is to burn, water is to wet, and whether fire in India, fire in America, Africa, anywhere it burns, and water anywhere wets, that's a quality pervading everywhere. The same thing, the human dharma also pervades, because like the way dharma of the water is to wet, same way the dharma of the human being is Sanatana Dharma, so the way that we take it. And not only that, I had given last time also the idea that first of all, what exists is a quality, a wetting nature, and from water comes out of it. The origin is wetting nature. That's what is the matra, tanmatra, and from that, all these things. The burning quality is the fire, and from that, the fire has come. So that means originally that is there, and then it spread into the material object. Like the way that usually the Vedantic scholars will give the idea, saying that the original is gold and the ornament is come later. Original is the mud and the pot comes later. So even if you can destroy the pot, but it will only become mud, it goes back to the mud and then it will come back. And this way that Sanatana Dharma is something which is at the bedrock and on which that human being or this creation has come to the existence. And when creation came into existence, it's easy to find out what is the dharma of the water, or what is the dharma of a rock, what is the dharma of these things. At a very gross level, that's what we could see. And then as we go further, dharma of the plant, when we come to level, plant has, say it is a mango tree, it will give mango fruits. And that's what is the dharma of the mango fruit. But then there are some variables that are introduced in the mango fruit, so that what kind of mango it is there. When you look at the mango tree, every mango tree looks alike, but then behind that, there is another important aspect of it. What is the type of mango that is? From the question, it comes to the animal level. Again, it is much more wider. When it comes to the human being, it is much more complex. That establishes the idea that we need to really go into the depth of this Sanatana Dharma of the human being, because the depth of Sanatana Dharma in the human being is so deep. If we understand that, just Sanatana Dharma, we can make this human being as the essential property we understand that makes the human being live forever. This human race can live forever. That's why the Sanatana Dharma study becomes very important. So, and as a first step towards that, I said that let's go what dharma means, what that sustains. Dhara iti dharma, that which holds it or that which continues. It also comes from another very simple root, that is dhara, that means whatever the flow, whatever that is behind this flow of human being is supposed to be dhara or the dharma. So therefore, when you look at this particular dharma, then the simple thing which sustains at the human level is this law. When we coexist, there must be something like a coexistence in the form of a law. And animals coexist. And the animals also, the coexistence is so beautiful. As last time, as we were discussing earlier, that the simple thing that you could think of is that the might destroying the poor. This is what the one law, the idea that is there. But you can see that animals rise above that level so that they sustain. That's the reason why in animals you see that mighty animals also live and also weak animals also live. And I have given several examples how it comes from within their nature to see that they mutually exist. They mutually respond to each other very well to exist. And that's where basically I have given several examples of the YouTube videos that were there about the animals, like a tiger allowing the deer to graze around, and similarly a monkey giving protection to the duck, etc., etc. These are the various examples I've given. In fact, one of the fascinating examples that was there, how the supposed to be the inimical animals, like the way that the donkey and the wolf, they became close friends. They lived together. So therefore, that in the nature also there is something like live and let live is a formula. In the human being also, when you look at this formula, this is what is nyaya. It is much more complicated in the case of human being because that human being coexists in several different areas. Like the way on the road when you are driving a vehicle, another person also has to drive the vehicle. So we evolve a lot, saying that everybody drives on the right side of your road. So therefore, that you also use the road. Opposite person also uses the road. So we coexist on the road. Similarly, like that, I produce certain things and you produce something, and then we try to equate something so that the bartering takes place. That means I give something to you and you give back to me something. So this existed in this particular culture. We have several examples to show that how this has been prevailed. In fact, only in the recent times that money equation has come, but otherwise, in general, earlier that there used to be only this material exchange that used to be there. Money thing came only at the government level, the common man's level, it was more of an exchange. And that's what I saw in my own life when I was a child. My father was a medical doctor, that he would serve people, give the medicine because he had the medicine knowledge, and then he will give them medicine. And because that those days the medicines were not to be, you know, like the way freely available today, what my father used to give the remedies, what is the chain? What is the simple arrangement that he has to do? And the household material that was there. This is how Ayurveda has come into existence. Whereas whatever my father used to give the medicine, but if he is a farmer, he is producing something, he'll just bring a bag of rice and keep it in our house. Or a can of oil brings to our house. It is not the question of that out of joy that he would give. Many times what happens is that we could not equate how much for how much. This was not there. Because that there was such a wonderful feeling of we live together mutually. This aspect was there. Even when the barter used to come, that there were law that has come to see that the people do not exploit somebody on the situation, because there is a drought or there is something like that, there is a scarcity or something, and that you can actually take advantage. Somebody can abuse the person who doesn't have it, so that in the barter system that they unnecessarily raise the prices, all that they would do it. So there used to be a law, government, which would come to say that no, we just cannot do anything like that. And this has come only when we started facing this scarcity. Very surprisingly, in the Indian society, until very recently, we did not have that scarcity. Maybe about 200 years back, we didn't have that scarcity. Historians say that in Indian country, Indian condition, the cities, they used to put the things on the outside on the road, and then people would just go and take the things and then leave the money. And there was no really strictly somebody who is going to monitor these things. Macaulay writes that in India, surprisingly, nobody puts locks in their houses. That means houses are open. And in spite of it, there were no big theft or anything. Even today, it is said that the proportion of police force for the percentage of people, it is so less compared to the other countries. That means the law prevails. This law comes from within. The last time I was saying that when the law comes from within, then we don't require an elaborate laws, elaborate law enforcement authorities, punishing authorities. All these things can become minimized. So one of the very important things in this particular understanding of Dharma is that law itself is good enough. It comes from within, from the people, so that we can all live comfortably and mutually helping each other. We can sustain that. We don't even have to go to understand the Dharma. But last time I was giving that idea that Dharma is something which is not only law, it is much more than beyond the law that you go and make the people happier. So, like for example, I take material worth 100 rupees. I give back 1,000 rupees to somebody, 500 rupees to somebody. That means I am not only taking care of law, but I am rising above that law. In a society where such people are there, that means to say the givers are more, everybody starts giving, the world becomes richer. That's why I said for me to be this, that's what is the nature. We always see that in the nature gives, and what nature takes is so little. Like, for example, that a plant, flower plant is there, and then after all, what you put is a glass of water to that flower plant, and that small little plant will give you nice, wonderful flowers, and flowers give fragrance, and that fragrance invites the bees, and the nectar is given. Look at the way how many things that in the nature they're giving actually. That mango tree, you don't do anything. At least a plant that you will put little water, but big mango tree, you don't do anything. Nature puts the water. But every year, season after season, they give you so much of fruits. So that means mango fruit gives so much. Everything in this nature is giving. I was saying that even the earthworm, what is so insignificant thing, but for being there on this earth, it makes the earth fertile, giving. Soap bubble, as giving the example of soap bubble, which has nothing inside, nothing outside, separated by a thin film of soap. But it reflects and refracts the sunlight and makes a beautiful geometrical shape and gives you so much of joy. So when you look at that, we are the only people who are not giving so much in the nature outside. We should be ashamed of it. Learn from this. Dharma says that you give much more than you take. That's why the Vedic mantra that is there, Jivane yavada dhanam syat pradhanam tatodikam. Ityesha prarthana asmakam. My simple prarthana is, give me an ability, O God, to see that I give much more than I take. Then what happens? Because of me being in this world, the world becomes beautiful, world becomes richer, world becomes much more competent. And that's what is the power that I have. So give it. Giving is the nature. And this is what is the idea of dharma. Nyaya is there, which is bartering. and dharma is something which is beyond that. We'll go further to discuss about all those things and the examples. I've just given a few examples here and there from hypothetical example, or maybe something like that from the scriptures that I've taken here and there. But I'll go more deep into it when I further analyze into these things. So this one aspect I said about dharma, and that aspect is nyaya, the law. The second aspect of dharma, very important aspect, is what is called as satya, the truth. That's why in Surya Namaskar mantra we say that Hiranmayena patrena satyasyapi hitam mukham tattvam pushan napavrunu satya dharmaya drishtaye. You open it to me, the sun god, you open it to me, satya dharmaya drishtaye. Satya and dharma are coupled together as if satya is another very important or cogent component of this particular dharma. So satya is held as very important aspect in the dharma context. Therefore, satya dharma drishtaye. Not only that, in Taittiriya Upanishad also there is another very beautiful mantra. It says that this Ruk Dakshina Pakshaha, Satyam Uttara Pakshaha, and Yoga Atma, and Mahat Pratyam Pratishtha. This is what is about the Vijnanamaya Kosha in Taittiriya Upanishad mantra says. That means to say, Ritam is on the right side, on the left, on the Dakshina Paksha, Satya Uttara Paksha, Satya is something. So these are the two parallel components. And what is this Satya and what is Ritam? Let me try to explain it. Ritam is something which is supposed to be fundamental truth. Fire burns is supposed to be Ritam. That means it can never change. It doesn't belong to individual. It is in the nature itself. Water flows in the downward, and this is something which is there in the nature itself. These are supposed to be Ritam. So we have Ritam on one side. Our intellect is powered by Ritam on this one side. That's why Ruk Dakshina Paksha and then Samottara Paksha, the Satyam Uttara Paksha. Satya is something which is on the other side. Now, what is this Satya? Satya is what we perceive and what we present. This is what is Satya. So now let us try to analyze this particular Satya, what it meant, particularly in parallel to this particular Rutam. See, what happens is that between the object outside and the message that is passed on, you are there in between. And when you are there, this individual, there are so many inputs come from all these different senses. Senses are there. That is what it goes into the world outside. I touch, world gives me information. I hear, world gives me information. I taste. So all these senses are the ones which are giving information of the world outside to me. Now, any information, any sense that comes in contact with this definitely makes a change in us, brings about some change in us, some improvement in us, or some information for us. This change, this information is what is called as the kritam. That means, like for example, the idea is that every water drop falls even on the stone will make a small little dent. It may be however minute it may be, but it has the first dent. Similarly, like that, when more and more water drops fall, you can see that there is a dent is created on the stone. So this dent that is created by the water drop, if you take it as the way that kritam, so the same way that any information that comes into me through my eyes, my ears, my taste, my senses, immediately will make an impression on me. Now I see that this fruit is sweet. This is not. This is edible. This is not edible. Or this is hot. This is cold. And this is this direction. This is another direction, because the information I get through these senses. And the information getting through senses is always what is called as kritam. Now, this kritam, it can be either in good way or in bad way. I can pick it up in the way that it can help me, help others, or it can disturb me, disturb others. I can use both these things. And this helping me is what is called as samskrutam. So kriti is the one which happens, and then right direction is what is called as samskruti. Wrong direction is what is called as dushkruti. So therefore, these are the two things in which that the outside world lays impression on you. Now, of all the senses input that is there, only sense which gives us the output is your talking. Your mouth, your expression is the only way. In fact, this is what Adi Shankaracharya put beautifully, that you want to convey the object outside, the experience outside. Experience is something what is really existing. And uddesha, your purpose is to see that you convey that. But in order to convey that, you have given a word for that. You have given a expression for that in the form of verbal way. This verbal way, we have given the expression. This is what is called as abhidana. Dana is what you give. For what? Dheya. Dheya is what is my purpose. So, my purpose is to say that, to show you apple. So therefore, I say apple, you exactly immediately know what is apple. So that means my word is anyway, has carried the dheya. This is what Adi Shankaracharya says. Abhidana and Abhideya, these two are inseparable things that are there, and they have to work together. Abhidana, Abhideyatvat. So that means to say my words, I have given it to see that all this samskruti that takes place within me, I give an expression. That's why we call it a samskrutam. Samskrutam is the means by which that you express what all the changes that has taken place within. In fact, in the other languages, we call it as language, which is supposed to be linking. But in Sanskrit, it is not just language, it's something much more than that. It gives an expression to what are the changes that are taking place within you. So now the object outside you want to communicate by the words. And the words that communicate from the object outside and the words that communicate, in between you are there. So actually, Satya is that you just play the least role in object outside and the communication that you give. That's what is Satya. As it is that I perceive, I pass it on. That's what is Satya. In between, there is nothing. That's what Swami Anvananda says beautifully, that if the mic is there in between, its job is that to amplify what I say and then pass it on to you. If the mic starts making noise, that means adding its own colors and its own sounds for that, then not only that you discard the mic, you discard mic wall also. So same way that your communication to the object outside is absolutely uncorrupted form. This is what is Satya. But then you are in between. You bring your emotions, you bring your preferences, all those things, direction to that. Not bringing all that, giving that clearly is what is called as Satya. So now what happens? Ritam is there, Satyam is there. So these two are the two wings on which that your intellect is built. Intellect is in between, Vijnanamaya Kosha is in between. On either side, one is called as Ritam and the other is Satyam. Satya is so important. Satya is as good as the original that is there in the world outside. Brahman and Satya, they are not different. That's why Brahma Satyam. This is what we say. Satya is not different from Brahman, original that is there. So therefore, Satya and Ritam, they are there. These two are there with us, and the Satya becomes very important. And therefore, one of the very important pillars of this Dharma is supposed to be this Satya. So therefore, we hold on to this Satya as Dharma. And this Satya passes through, when it comes out, it passes through 4 stages within us. And the first stage is Sankalpa, deep inside. And the second stage is Manas, and then what? Then it comes in the form of expression outside. karma. So from the manasa, vacha, karmana, and then sankalpa. All these four things are the means by which that your truth is translated into the world outside. So now what happens is that corruption can be at any level. If there is no corruption at any level, that means to say right from sankalpa level, that means what originates from you, the you are behind it, from that all the way up to the kriti, karma that you do it. When there is complete unison, there is one complete channel, one complete identification. Then what happens is that the kriti that we do is satya, is totally 100% satya. So there were times when people were all together like this, and that is what is the time we call it as Krita Yuga or Satya Yuga. See, imagine that when all these things are in one particular alignment, where is the question of anything lost in this world? And that is what you see in the children, they have like that. Children, whatever that they have, they are never corrupted inside. What they inside is there, it's exactly outside, it is manifesting outside. The corruption takes place in the world outside. World gives that corruption. We were also like that as children, pure 100%. As we came out, the corruption entered into us. Animals also, you see that a lot of times, there is so much of unison in that. I always used to see my dog, somebody brought some cake. One time it so happened, somebody brought cake and then we kept it on the table. And then we all went out and then came back. And we found out that one of the dogs ate that cake without our permission, took it that. Now you look at the dog. My daughter-in-law looks at the dog and asks, who ate this cake? Immediately the dog which has eaten the cake comes and pleads and falls at the feet, and you can see on the face, absolutely honest truth, saying that I did that. And you don't like it, I know that, but in spite of it, I did that. You can see the innocence in the child, in the dog. Animals are like that, innocent. You can read that. Same way, children are like that. They're absolutely innocent. They don't have any corruption in between. Sankalpa all the way right to karma. Absolutely, there is no corruption. That's why a child does not want to go to school. And then look at the way that all that he acts. Against is getting dressed up. Mother says that, come on, dress up fast. And then he puts all wrong kinds of things. And mother is angry with him, but in spite of it, he does. Come on, wear the shoe. He'll put the right leg in the left shoe and left leg in the right shoe. He knows that, but he will do that. And mother comes in that you cannot try like this. You have to do like this and all that. Meanwhile, the bus fellow comes and then he's honking. Now the child has to go. But then it takes another 10 minutes for the child to go, 15 minutes child to get ready. Therefore, mother shouts from the house saying that to the driver, uncle, today Munna will not come to the school, you go. Why? He asked and said, Munna's stomach is hurting. Mother says like that. And this Munna is not comfortable. He tells mother, no, my stomach is not hurting. My stomach is okay. But then she said, right, let him go. So now he knows that he can play with these things. See, truth, we come away from the truth for the convenience sake. So slowly this is the way that we moved away from the truth. But imagine that time when from the krita, from the sankalpa all the way to the karma, there's absolutely, there is no deviation from the satya. That's what's the real satya. At that time when, that is why it is said that krita yuga, satya yuga is the time when dharma was around the four padas. Dharma was going on the four padas. No stretch of imagination can give us that such a society will lose the balance any particular time, will lose the power any time. So that was there. Basically, Satyuga is such a long time that was there. Our Puranas talk about it. And not only that, when you are in the Satya, as I said, Satya and Ritam, they don't have any difference between that. That means to say, the nature would follow you. This is what Patanjali says, Satya Pratisthaya. He says that it is not that you are telling the truth, but establish the truth. Satya Pratisthaya. At that time, the nature will listen to you. And our mantras were supposed to be the people who did the mantra darshas are the people, then the mantras are used in such a way that the nature follows you because the nature wants to support you. That's why they say that Parjanya mantra, that means when you have that Parjanya mantra, rain would come because that there was some honesty right from the level of Sankalpa all the way up to the Kritya. There was one particular unison, and collectively when we do that, the rain used to come. So that's why these mantras are supposed to have been. People have realized to see that this unison was there. This is from the time of Krita Yuga. The river listens to you, the sun listens to you, nature corresponds to you. Because basically that whenever you are saying something, there is honesty behind it. There's absolute total honesty behind it. Therefore, Sankalpa to Krita, there's one particular direction that was there. So Satya is such an important thing in the form of Dharma. Therefore, Satya Dharmaya Drishtaye. Satyameva Ishvaro Loke. This is what is the Upanishad mantra. Satyameva Ishvare Loke. Satya Dharma Samashritaha. Satya is something which is actually the soul for the Dharma. Dharma Satya is the soul. Satya Mulani Sarvani. Satyan Nasti Parampadam. There is nothing greater than the Satya. Satya Mulani Sarvani. Satyan Nasti Paramparam. There is nothing which is higher than that. This was the kind of concept that was there about Dharma. Satya is something which is very important. There was a time when all these things were there, nature was cooperating, and we had such stories. These are called as the rishis. Rishi means one on one foot, their one foot was in Rhythm, and the other foot was there in Satyam. One foot was there in Brahman, other foot was there in the world outside. Satya belongs to the world outside, and Rhythm belongs to the Brahman. So this is what they used to have it. We had such examples of the Jamadagni and Renuka. But look at what happened. The Renuka was like that in that particular kind of a Satya, established in that Satya, and naturally she would go to the river and take bath. And husband is a lazy guy. Most of the husbands are. And he would not go all the way to the river to take bath and all that. She is supposed to bring the river water purely as river water to him. Now, what happens is that river water, when you fill in a pitcher or in any container, the container's contamination is added to that. And he is a great rishi, so she cannot bring it in any container. She has to bring that river in a pot made out of that river mud itself. See, that was a great challenge with her. But she was a great Pativrata. That means to say, her mind was just at one pointedness. That means to say, from the time of Sankalpa to Karya, Krita, is there one particular unit that was there. So there, in her Sankalpa, she will take out the mud from the river, and the sun will cooperate to make a pot out of it. And the pot dries up, and she brings the river water in that pot. What a beautiful idea about this bringing the water pure. You see, these are all the Puranas. The Purana stories are actually, whether it happens or not, happened or not, more than that, it is to convey the message. The purpose behind the stories is the message it gives. The message was that Renuka is bringing such pure water to her husband, Jamadagni, every day. And this used to go on very routine, normal way. She would make a pot out of river mud and then fill the river water in that and then bring it home. And then he would take bath and he would do all his Sanyavandana. For his Sanyavandana, he had that pure water. This was going on. One day it so happened, at that time when she was taking water from the river, at that time, this Indra passes in that direction. Suddenly she looks at Indra, her whole attention is diverted. Her Sankalpa was disturbed. Sankalpa Chuti, it is called. She moved little away from Sankalpa. That little away from Sankalpa, that means Sankalpa was not 100% honest. When the Sankalpa was not 100% honest, naturally you can think of it, that the path was not created. She tried so much, every time she was panicking, and the more that she was panicking, the more that she was away from that reality, path was not created. Finally, she came back home empty-handed. When she came back empty-handed, what happened to Renuka? Jamadagni realized that and cursed her. And actually, not cursed her, he asked his sons to come, summoned, and said, come on, your mother lost her integrity, her total devotion. Therefore, this happened like that, cut off her head. They were also very honest, devout, dharmatma. I said, dharma says that I can't cut off my mother's head. Therefore, we can't cut off. Then he made them into ashes. He burned them into ashes. First son, second son, third son, I don't know. Either it is 8 or 10 or something like that. But then last fellow, that is what is Parashurama was there. He said, cut off your mother's head. As father's order, he takes the sword and then Parashu and cuts off mother's head. So this is the extent to which that Satya has been upheld in this particular culture. We'll come back to this story later on to understand the depth of this story. But look at the way that how in Satya Yuga, the Satya was upheld. That's why it is the law. Slowly what happened, over a period of time, the Sankalpa Chuti has taken place. Then Satya remained on Manasa, Vacha, Karmana. At these three levels were there. Whatever that is there in the mind and whatever that is there in the word and also deed, activity, the absolute union. Even these three support system is there for Dharma. Dharma sustained. And that's why, because that there were three systems on which three things support on which Dharma sustained, it's called as Treta Yuga. Treta Yuga has given rise to Treta Yuga. Treta Yuga itself was something which is extraordinary because the three were there, but then it was weaker than the Krita Yuga. We had the sages who were the Krita Yuga, who has given us the Ritam and Satyam and all those things. Then the question came Treta Yuga. In Treta Yuga, there are three support was there. Later on, the two were there. That is only the Manas and Vak. The Vak and Karma. Vak and Karma together were there. Manas was not there. And that is what is Dwapara Yuga. Dwapara Yuga is still there is Dharma intact because that Dwapara Yuga, what happened was that this Manas, Vacha and Karma, they were together. Mind might have gone here and there, doesn't matter. But then later on, when it came to Kali Yuga, it is supposed to be Dharma is only one pada. That means to say what you do is an activity. What you are thought in mind, whatever you might have said, he might have said so many things, but that may not matter. But what you do is something which matters. So we come to that level. But once this one support that is there, even the activity is not there, Dharma is not there, then Dharma completely collapses. So now in this Kali Yuga, Dharma is in such feeble one leg, it is standing on that, and any moment it can fall. Once it falls, then Dharma comes back with all the four pathas. That's why it's a cycle. This whole Indian system, that's why we always thought in terms of cycles. It has gone, and this one cycle, Krita Yuga, Treta Yuga, Dwapara Yuga, Kali Yuga together, we call it as one Kalpa. Again, the Kalpa means the creation. A Kalpa comes where all these four again re-established, and that continues to go on. Though that is the reason why that these four different yugas, Puranically, that they are given. So we don't have the linear model of anything. We always have a circular model. And that's what is the nature. You can see in the nature, always there are circles. Day and night is like a circle model. It reappears. Seasons are a circular model. The years are in circular model. We have 60 years calendar. It is 60 years is a circular model. So in this way, that the whole of Puranas discuss about the Satyam and Ritam, and their connection with this mankind, the manifest world outside, is given in this way. Satya is something which is very important that way. And in order to communicate the importance of Satya, not only in the Puranas that we are given, the stories which will give about the Satya, the importance of Satya at various levels it is given. In fact, I remember how beautifully that the Satya is given such a great, precious idea about the whole Dharma is based on Satya. In the children's story, especially there is a story in Karnataka, which is almost like became popular all over the country. You go to any part of the country that the children play, that you can see that, and that is Punyakoti. The story of Punyakoti shows the importance of this Satya. It's such a beautiful story. And he takes the case of an animal. And the animal, to represent the Satya, is the softest of animals, simplest of animal. That's what is the cow. And the story goes like this, that the herd of cows that they were grazing, suddenly a tiger jumps on the herds and then catches hold of one cow. The other cows run away, but this cow was caught. And the tiger says, I'm hungry, that I'll have to eat it. The cow says that, please spare me for a few hours. Let me go to my child. I left my child at home. Let me go to my child, give him milk because he may be hungry and he may be thinking of mother coming back. So therefore, let me go and feed the child and tell the child that I'm not coming back tomorrow onwards because I will have to go back to this tiger, and the tiger will eat me because I'm the food of the tiger. That's what is the truth. The cow doesn't deny that I'm your food because that the tiger says that if you go away, I will be dying out of hunger. So you have to come back to me. The cow promises, I will come back. And the tiger lets her go. And the cow rushes back to the child and then feeds the child. All the other cows were there. They are jubilant because they thought they were already telling this little fellow that your mother is already dead because might have been dead because the tiger caught hold of your mother. We all escaped. We came here. But then suddenly they found out that this cow is running back home. So they were all jubilant. They were all happy. This cow escaped from the tiger's clutches and came. They welcomed the cow, but the cow said, this is not the truth. The truth is that the tiger, I promised the tiger that I will go back and then he will have to eat me. And I have to hold on to that promise. They even advise, you don't have to go back. You can say, once you got rid of it, and then you can come. You have come here, stay here. But the cow says, no, I'm honest. What's the message I give to my child? And then there is a whole message that the cow tells her child. And the beautiful way that he expresses that in the Karanta realized that, he says, the truth itself is my mother, truth is father, and truth is something which is my teacher. You can never give up the truth. Life might go, but the truth cannot be given up. All these things are there. Such a beautiful way it is written. And then expresses to other cows. Now this calf is not orphan. You're all there. You will take care of this calf. All that he gives words, he hands over the responsibility to the other cows, and then takes leave of all the cows, and then we'll go back to the forest. We'll go back to that place where the tiger is waiting. Meanwhile, the tiger was also thinking, actually reflecting on himself, saying that, what a fool I am. The cow said that I will go back and then feed the child and will come back. And then I believed in that. I'm really a foolish fellow that I've given it. I am cheated by this cow. And now look at the way that I cannot go back into the forest because I have to wait for this cow, whether it comes or not, whether she comes or not. So all that she was thinking, and suddenly she saw from a distance the cow is coming back, running to him. Wow, that touched the tiger. Said, can there be a truth of this particular adherence to truth like that? The truth is so important. Can somebody hold on to this way to the truth? They're so very happy. And then the cow comes back to the tiger and says that, look, yes, I convinced my little child that he should live without me. And now I am free. I'm at your hands. You can do whatever you would like to take. You take my life. The tiger falls at the feet of the cow and says that you taught me a lesson. You followed the truth. I really respect you. See, this is what the culture has shown us, given us that even in the animals, the truth is something which is held high. Dharma sustains because of the truth. So the second component of dharma is this truth, satya. That's why we have this satya is God itself. That's why I had given this sutra earlier. Satyameva Ishvaro Loke Satye Dharma Samashritaha. Satyamulani Sarvani Satyanasti Parampada. Satyamule. What is that mula? That means to say the truth is later on developed of the Satya. Without the Satya, truth will not be there. I mean, without the Satya, untruth will not be there. A lie cannot be there. Lie exists only because the truth. Or even the lie does not exist. In fact, lie means that which does not exist. It only appears to be existing. But otherwise, lie does not have an existence of its own. So when we say tell the truth, be in the truth, that means, isn't the tiger going against his dharma? The tiger dharma is to eat cow also, and he will die. Yes. But the tiger also says that I uphold the truth, even if I give up my life. But of course, the tiger will not die. He can go and hunt for other animals because basically that's his food. So he will take some food or the other somewhere. It's not an issue at all. But only thing is that the cow adheres to the truth, satya. That's what is very important. And in fact, that is what is essentially about the food. You have asked a question of a tiger. It is said that food is a cycle. That means that you are food for some animals, some insects. Insects are food for some animals, and then plants become your food. Everywhere there's a life cycle. In the nature, this life cycle is there. We hold on to this life cycle. Somewhere or the other, somehow or the other, we maintain this life cycle. But at the same time, here this life cycle is still maintained. But at the same time, the most important thing is even the tiger respects the truth. Satya is respected. So I will come more into this life cycle and all those things as we further looking into this, because we need to survive. We need to exist. So therefore, we have given various ideas about that, but understand the importance of truth. That's why Patanjali gives us the idea saying that it's not just telling the truth. It is being in the truth. That's why he says, very important yama is the satya. Ahimsa satya steya brahmacharya aparigraha. The very second yama is satya. And not only while describing about satya, he says that satya pratisthaya should establish in the satya. Normally, what we think of satya is that satya that I say something. I saw and I say. As I said earlier, there is no corruption between what I perceive, the senses give information, and what I pass on through my words. This is what is satya. But then that is not alone. We have such deeper perspective about the satya to see that various levels of satya exist. The truth exists. That's why we have, even if you hold on to this idea of satya, this itself is great. Whatever that you perceive, you just pass on. Be careful to see that you are not corrupted. You are not corrupting that in between by your own commentary on that. I always gave that example of, when Ram Katha is going on, Hanuman is there because he is fond of listening to Ram Katha. And the Kathakara, who was supposed to be Ramdas, he says that Hanuman went into Ashoka Vatika, and there he saw a bed of white flowers there. Immediately, this Hanuman incognito, he was there like a Brahmin, he jumps up and says that they are not white flowers, they are red flowers. But with this Brahmin gets up and says something, and then the Kathakar was really a little disturbed. He said, no, no, they were white flowers, they are not red flowers. No, but they are white flowers, he said. But don't argue with me, I am telling the story, you are not telling the story. But he said, tell the correct story, they are white flowers. Now he got really upset. He said, quiet, I am telling the story. But then Hanuman, and who are you to say that they are red flowers? He said, I am Hanuman. And then he comes in the form of Hanuman. At that time, this Ramdas looks at him, oh, Hanuman is there. But then in spite of it, he says, you may be Hanuman, it's all right, but they are white flowers. Okay? In spite of the fact that I'm saying that they are red flowers, he argues that they are red flowers, they are white flowers. But who has to solve the dispute? So both of them went to Rama. Hanuman complains to Rama, look at this man. He says that they are red flowers, white flowers. I've seen them actually red flowers. So tell me what is right. And Rama says that they are white flowers. And Hanuman was shocked. He said, look, because he's your bhakta, that's why you are supporting him. And I said, no. Rama smiled and he replies him saying that, no, no. Hanuman, when you went there, Ashokavana, you did not find Sita where she was hiding and all that. Therefore, you are angry. And that anger that you are looking at them. The white flowers, they were looking at red. It's your eyes, your anger was making it to look at. So your anger influences the reality. Anyway, this story is a beautiful story to show that when you perceive, don't look at through your emotions that are there. So this is what is the truth that you see, we pass it on. We do this. But there's another very important aspect of this truth is that truth could be what I perceived and what I give, but also what I say and then what I do should actually match. That means in the future, I say that I will do something and I should 100% do the same thing. And that's what is the truth also, which we call it as in English an authenticity. When I say something that there should be an authentic aspect of it, that means to say it has to be accepted. This truth is something which is extraordinary. Normally what happens, we promise, but later on we go back and we say that, look, situation has changed. Now I cannot adhere to that promise. I made a promise, I'm doubt about it. Some people even say that we did not even make a promise. But then even the person accepts that I made a promise, but what can I do? The situation has changed. Even the situation changes, you do not change the promise. You do not go back at the promise. This is what is authenticity. This requires a lot of courage, a lot of support. And this is what is the next level. And we have such people who have adhered to that. That's what is Satya Harishchandra. Harishchandra was the king in this same Rama's lineage. Earlier he was there. Extraordinary king. And he promised to Vishwamitra that he will give something. He owes him something. And then Vishwamitra holds on to it and he asks Harishchandra about that. But later on, what happened is Harishchandra lost his kingdom, everything, and then he was actually working in the graveyard, all those things. He didn't have anything. But then Vishwamitra sent his emissary along with him, his representative with him called as Nakshatraka. Nakshatraka was there with Harishchandra. Every day is pressurizing. Come on, when do you give? When do you give? He doesn't have anything now to give. But he says, yes, the time will come when everything will come all right. I will give. At that time, this Harishchandra, when he said like that, it's in a position I'm like this. Then this Nakshatraka says that why don't you just tell one simple thing that you did not promise. You did not promise because nobody else knows about the promise that you have given to somebody. There's no papers written. There's no document signed and all that. Therefore, you say that you promised. You did not promise that you gave that. So that you can also go back comfortably. You don't have to be pestered by me. And I can also go back home and I can live comfortably. Harishchandra says, Nakshatra, please don't say that. I promised. However difficult it may be, I do not want to go back on my promise. This is what is Harishchandra stand. Such a way that he went through all kinds of difficulties. His wife went somewhere working, his son got killed. So many things happened. In spite of it, he held on to the truth. That's why later on, Harishchandra's name has the prefix called Satya. The great importance given to the Satya is that Satya Harishchandra. And the history, we have that name, Satya Harishchandra. It came in the forever, for eternity, because he followed the truth. So that means to say, first is the truth, what you perceive. And second is, that means to say that from perception, sensory organ, all the way to sankalpa within you, and then coming back to the expression, this is what is Satya. Second thing is that you say something and then hold on to that say till it manifests in the world outside and not leaving that. This is what is authenticity. That's what is supposed to be deeper Satya. When we adhere this kind of a Satya, then look at the way that we don't have to have papers, we don't have to do all those things, and man can depend on man so easily. That's what this Punyakoti story gives us, that you can be really following the word that you have given. So this is what is the next level of Satya. But there is one more level of Satya, that is what our scriptures talk about. Actually, these Puranas are, because of that reason, are Itihasa. In the difference between the Itihasa Purana is, Itihasa is the actually happened, but then the extraordinary message that those people, they are given in their lifetime, we don't want them to go in the history books. We want to enliven them forever for the future generation. These are called as Itihasa. So Ramayana and Mahabharata, they are Itihasas. They have happened. Like Ramayana happened 6,700 years ago. Mahabharata happened 5,100 years ago. And we have the records of that. But then we made them as Purana-like structures, the stories, so that what happened is the guidance that they gave is there with us all the time. So that whatever that happened for 6,700 years ago during the time of Rama, today also that we can take a message of that and then leave that. That's why these are the Itihasas and Purana characters are Dharmatmas. They carried the Dharma. Rama is supposed to be one Dharma messenger. Similarly, Krishna is that. So they convey this Dharma message there. So in Rama's life, that this Dharma called as the Satya, which is authentic, which is not only, which is beyond the authentic, that comes in this particular Purana in Ramayana. There are other Puranas which are essentially a message is supposed to be communicated, but they actually, whether the things happened or not, that's a different issue. We do not, they have created all that kind of thing. So these are the three things that are there, but they're also important. In fact, Adi Shankaracharya takes care of all these Puranas apart from these Vedas that he has. So therefore, that all these things part of this particular culture. So now, when you look at the Ramayana as a Purana, as a Itihasa, whatever in Rama's case happened, it can be a guidance for us. It's a very important message that Ramayana gives us. Like, for example, Rama promised to the father that he will go to the forest. Yes, Ramkumar, you have some question? I think I don't know whether.
No, sir. I just
okay.
moved my hand. That's all.
Oh,
Sorry.
okay. No problem. So, it's a very beautiful conversation that goes on between the Rama and Kaikeyi. Tomorrow, Rama is supposed to be coronated. That evening, Rama is summoned to Kaikeyi's place. Or says, come to Dasharatha's place. So, Rama takes a chariot and comes to Dasharatha's place. And Dasharatha was not there. Obviously, he was there in Kaikeyi's place. So Rama goes to Kaikeyi's place, and then Dasharatha is actually on the ground, collapsed, and not raising his head, not looking at Rama's face and all that. Rama suddenly shocked. He said, "What happened to that?" And he asked Kaikeyi that, "See, how is this dad is like this? What happened to him? Is he not all right?" Kaikeyi says, no, he's okay, but he's afraid. You see, Kaikeyi is very smart, very intelligent. So the way that she puts the ideas is very straight. She says that, no, dad is okay, but suddenly he was caught up in a dichotomy, what to say, how to say that. And if he says that, you may be angry with that. Say, you may be angry with that. What is that? He says that, dad owes me 2 bones long time ago. And Daivasara Sangrama that was going on. At that time, he supported Daivas. And at that time, I was there with him chariot, and then I saved his life. So at that time, 2 boons were granted to me, wishes. So I asked the wishes. And then now he is in dilemma whether to take care of these wishes or not. And it is not the dilemma. He is afraid of expressing because you might get angry. Rama says, I don't get angry with whatever that dad says. Even if he says that you take poison, I would readily, happily take the poison. That is the kind of thing I am. So don't have to worry about it. And he consoles father. And father even cannot say that. Then Kaikeyi on behalf of father says that, that these 2 wishes were there, and I asked these wishes. And the first wish is that you go for, Sapta Sapta Varsha. That means 7 years. That means 14 years. You go to the forest. And then Bharata will be crowned as the king, or the prince for the kingdom. And the way that she puts it is that, Ayodhya needs a prince. Therefore, Bharata will be made as a prince. Rama immediately says to that, why it is Sapta Sapta Varsha? Somebody has commented that. When you say 14 years, a king who is, according to the rule those days, 14 years away from the kingdom, he doesn't belong to the king anymore. He cannot come back to the kingdom. So it is 7 years. That means to assure that you are still a king. You are still a prince. What a cunning way that she puts it. And then Rama says, okay, 14 years to the forest. I'm going. There's no problem about that. And I'm very happy that because as much as that I am capable of handling the kingdom, Bharata is equally capable, equally wise and trained. So therefore, in Bharata's hand, Ayodhya will be safe. And then he says that what is that I should be angry about? And then Rama gives a reply so beautifully. He says that the same father tells me tomorrow that you are going to be king. And the same father says tomorrow you go to the forest. I cannot say this father is different. I don't have a different feeling from my father. Father is always my father, whatever may be the thing. So before saying that, actually, Kaikeyi asked Rama, why don't you sit down, have some little water, because it's a very serious matter. Rama replies like this and says that, mother, it's okay that I'm going to the forest tomorrow. But I'm going to the forest now. But you said something very serious. That means even this is not serious for Rama. Rama says, I'm going to the forest. At that point of time, then Kaikeyi was a little harsh, little unkind also. See, that's how it happens to the whole background behind it shows that why that she became like that. Later on, she repents a lot. And that was that she says, Rama, why don't you hurry up? Because it's the time for you to go. If it is dark, then wild beasts will hurt you. So therefore, before it becomes too dark, get into the forest. You see, he's anyway going to the forest. If it is the wild beast, But in spite of it, Kaikeyi says, why don't you early so that before the beast take meal on you? So therefore, Rama says, I'm going, don't worry. And how he assures her, saying that, let me console my mother. Let me explain to Sita what is the situation happened. Then I will go. And definitely today I will go. I've started. And there, Rama gives a very beautiful line. Nahamar thaparo loke devi lokama vastu mushkate vidyama mrishipistulyam kevalam dharma mastitam. Dharma, I'm only one thing which is holding on to, that's what is dharma. There is nothing else that I'll add. Nothing matters to me. Kingdom, riches, nahamarthaparo Devi. Hey Devi, none of these things do not matter to me. Lokamast mucha mukhyate, lokama vastu mukhyate, vidyamam rishibastirda. It's like, please understand me like the way rishis have given me this knowledge. It is Rishi's words, Vidyamam Rishipistulyam. What the knowledge given to me is what I am. What a wonderful way Rama says that. He went to the forest and Dharma Mavrutta. So this is what is the Dharma aspect of it. And then he goes to the forest. And we know the story that happened when he goes to the forest. Rama goes to the forest and then Dasharatha, see, actually Sumanta goes along with Rama. And Dasharatha hopes that by the time Rama goes to the forest, Sumanta can convince Rama to come back, and then he will come back with the hope of that. But then when Sumanta comes back alone, that breaks the heart of Dasharatha. And after that, he get into the unconscious state and he is convulsing and all that, and he dies. When he dies, after that, Bharata comes. And immediately, actually, when Rama is going to the forest, before Rama go to the forest, Kaikeyi gives instructions. Please make arrangements to see that Bharata comes immediately because Pattabhisheka has to be done. So look at the way that where her mind is working. And then Dasharatha dies, then Bharata comes, takes care of all the rites, last rites of Dasharatha, completes all the procedure. Once the procedure is completed, Bharata was looking at, he was getting ready to go to the forest. At that time, he suddenly saw that all these people were in the darbar, in the room. He said, what are you doing? He said, we are thinking of the dates when the coronation has to be done. Bharata said, coronation for what? He said, the kingdom. Who? You. Bharata says, how can be two kings for the kingdom? There can be only one king. No, the king died, no, because in their mind it's only Dasharatha. Bharata says if Dasharatha is not there, eldest is the king. Rama is the king. Anyway, whatever that you might discuss, I'm not part of it. I'm going to forest to bring Rama. Wow. Then Vasishta's eyebrows raised. He says, oh, you're going to forest to bring Rama? Yes. If Rama doesn't come, I'll be there with Rama. I will not come back. Do you think that I will come back to this mother who is so wretched? All that he says. Then Vasishtha says, okay, I will go with you. Maybe I can convince. Other rishis said that we will also go. Mother said that time, say, we will come. And we will convince Rama to come back because dad is not there. So therefore Rama will come back. The whole of everybody goes to forest. And that's a beautiful scenario when they were actually approaching the forest, looking at from a distance because the whole paraphernalia was there. And because these people have to come naturally because the king family. So all the arrangements were to make all the arrangements and everything was there. Looking at all these things, Lakshmana thinks that now Bharata is not satisfied with Shanigasta forest. He may be coming with the whole army to fight with us. And Lakshmana says to Rama, Rama, you don't worry. Alone Lakshmana is sufficient for whole army of Ayodhya. Rama says, oh, keep quiet. You always think of fighting. Come on, they may be coming with some information, some idea. Let's talk to them. Let's find out. Then when they come, They look at, particularly Bharata comes and then the mothers come. When the mothers come, suddenly it shocked them because they saw in the white dress, mothers like that. Wow, what happened? And then they came to know that Dasharatha died. And Bharata came actually to request Rama, fall at his feet, the evil done, and then please come back. When after knowing all these things, Lakshmana feels so sorry. Says, Bharata, I made a mistake. I mistook you that you are coming, and therefore I was standing at the top of the hill and aiming my arrow to kill you. Bharata says, Lakshmana, you could have done that. I would have been relieved from these things. But this, I cannot see this, and I'm caused behind all this. Lakshmana, Rama consoles him and all that. So that actually comes to Rama, and says, Rama, let's go back. Come back to Ayodhya. So now, said, Rama says, I will not come back because I given words to the father. Now, let us sit together and discuss about that. Before that, they sit and discuss about that. Rama offers his last rites to departed father, and all the mothers are taken care of, and everybody's comfort is taken care of. They're resting. Next morning, they sat together to discuss about what about the going back to Ayodhya. Vasishtha is sitting on one side, Rama, Lakshmana, and Sita were there. On the other side, Bharata and whole gang were there. And then Vasishtha says, Vasishtha says to Rama, Bharata has come with a request. And what is that request? Bharata says, we really very sorry that we have lost you in the forest, but please come back. Look at what are the calamities that has taken place. Ayodhya is crying and dad is not there anymore. Dasharatha is not there. And please come back. Mothers feel very sad. And we have lost Sita from Ayodhya. When Sita comes back, there is prosperity coming back. All those things when they say. Bharata presents his point. Then Vasishtha turns to Rama. Rama says, I've given word to father, so therefore I've gone to the forest. 14 years I will have to be in the forest. The mothers plead. Particularly Kaikeyi says that Rama, the whole thing happened because of me. I'll take back my word. Please come back. Rama says, it's nothing to do with you, mother. You're always my mother. You are the same. You love me, I love you. But only thing is that this is a point between me and my father. I have given word to my father, so therefore that I have come back to I have come to the forest. Let me finish this. Now, which side he has to give? That's why it's such a extraordinary situation. Several people talk about it, including there was this Jabal Marshi. He also talks about things, and everybody talks about it. There is no riddle. And you see, what happens in the story of Ramayana is, original Ramayana story, what Maharshi Valmiki has given something, but then some of these events in between, people add, but they're very nice. The great saintly people have added certain things, but then they add flavor to that. It's like the way, this is called as Alankara. So one of the Alankara that somebody has given is so beautiful. I like that idea, saying that Janaka, now actually Vasishtha says, no, on one side Rama seemed to be right. On the other side, Bharata seemed to be right. I don't know which side I have to take the decision. I cannot take which way or the other because I've been doing injustice to the other. So therefore, for me, both of them are wonderful. Only thing is, God has to find a solution. When he said that God has to find a solution, at that point of time, the security fellow comes and says that Janaka is on his way. Because Janaka also came to know what happened. So Janaka, along with his team, he came. So Vasishtha says, let us put this point in front of Janaka because we have advantage. Janaka is also a king and is also a rishi. When he is connected, He is considered in the greatest of the sages. So therefore, from the spiritual point of view, from the kingdom point of view, both the points that he can look at, from Dharma point of view, from the Nyaya point of view, he looks at it and he will present his ideas. Let's present to him. And what is that Janaka gives a solution? And what a kind of an amicable solution that Janaka gives. We'll see it continue the next week when we continue this topic. But more important thing is we would like to bring about the greatness of the Dharma in the whole point of it. And Satya as a component of Dharma, we look into that. Let's see that in the next class that we do. Thank you so much. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Is there any truth in the Dhobi statement which resulted in Sita's Parityaga? Annapurna ji? Yes. I will come to these things at a later time when I go to the depth of